Let's be real, the second GTA 6 trailer dropped and people lost their minds.
God damn! Oh my god!
Oh my god.
It looks insane, cinematic, and yeah, it kinda makes GTA 5 look ancient. But as much as it blew everyone away, there's one problem. It set expectations way too high. So let's talk about what GTA 6 probably won't have, and why some of the fan theories are just not gonna happen. From the very beginning of the series, there's been one feature players have consistently dreamed of: full building destruction. And at first glance, it makes sense. GTA has always been a close friend with realism, and with 6 aiming to push the boundaries even further, you'd think this would finally be the moment it gets added. But it's not happening, and here's why. As immersive as GTA is, it was never built to be a full-scale simulator. Full destruction of buildings isn't just a design challenge, it's also a performance nightmare. If Rockstar were to implement fully destructible environments, you'd need hardware that could rival a Hollywood render farm. We're talking at least 128 gigabytes of RAM just to keep the game from turning into a slideshow. But that's just the technical side. From a narrative perspective, it breaks the game. Imagine destroying a key building tied to a main mission, only to have the story try and pretend it's still there. The open-world freedom GTA offers has always danced carefully with structured storytelling, and full destruction throws that balance out the window. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be any environmental damage. Leveled-up explosions, breakable walls, traffic signs, lampposts, more reactive materials, those are still on the table. But if you're expecting to collapse a skyscraper in the middle of Vice City, I wouldn't count on it. There's something that's always felt a little off about GTA 5's police system. No matter where you are or how careful you try to be, the cops seem to know exactly where you are, almost like they're being trained by psychics before hitting the streets. Even if you detonate a bomb in the middle of nowhere with no witnesses in sight, they somehow still show up, and when they do, it's instant. It doesn't matter if you hid yourself in the sewers, they'll track you down like they've got a GPS planted on your character. It creates a feeling that there's no real reward for playing smart or stealthy, and over time, that turn police chases into long and frustrating ones. For many players, this has been one of the weakest points in the entire GTA series, an area that felt more artificial than immersive. But with 6 on the horizon, expectations are shifting, because some fans are hoping for something much more advanced. Full-scale manhunts, police drones, AI that connects your crimes to clues left on social media posts. While those ideas sound exciting, Rockstar might be heading in a slightly different direction. Instead of relying on omniscient AI, GTA 6 could introduce a system where police behavior is rooted in realism. Witnesses, reports, line of sight. Maybe even the kind of detail we saw in Red Dead Redemption 2, where the law actually had to see you commit a crime before doing anything. That game made you think twice before acting, not because of a flashing star system, but because someone might actually identify you. But here's the thing, they probably can't go too real with it, because as broken as the current system is, it guarantees action. If crimes only triggered police when someone was nearby, a lot of missions or free roam chaos just wouldn't happen. You could kill an NPC in an alley and walk away clean, and while that sounds immersive, it also kills the tension. Rockstar has to walk a line, improve realism just enough to make it feel smarter, but still keep the game fun, dangerous, and unpredictable. Because without that constant threat, the game world might feel a little too quiet. Of course, you can't talk about police chases in GTA without eventually bringing up what comes after: prison. And for 6, that might not just be a cutscene anymore. What's been speculated for a while now is the possibility of a full prison gameplay arc, something we've never actually seen in a Grand Theft Auto game besides GTA 5 Prison Mission. Because if you look back at past titles, getting arrested was mostly just a visual thing. You'd see a busted screen, lose your weapons, maybe some cash, and then you'd reappear outside the station like nothing ever happened. But in GTA 6, things might be different, and the first major clue is Lucia. In the second trailer, she's introduced while being released from prison, and later, we even see her performing community service, suggesting real consequences for criminal behavior beyond just a wanted level. If that's the case, then Rockstar could be preparing to introduce a full in-game prison system, maybe with missions, interactions, or even ways to affect your sentence, like bribing guards, legal appeals, or even orchestrating a prison break to get out. But I think that would be totally absurd. More likely, Lucia's time in prison is just the starting point for the story. We'll probably begin the game as Jason while she's locked up, and she'll be released a few missions later. That's it. I seriously doubt Rockstar will turn prison into a regular gameplay loop or punishment system, because let's be real, getting caught and then spending your next 3 hours cleaning floors in a jumpsuit isn't the kind of freedom GTA is built on. Lately, some players have been floating a bold theory. What if GTA 6 brings in a real-world economy? Like, what if the price of a car in-game actually matches its real-life counterpart? Sounds like a cool idea at first, especially after years of seeing cars like the Coquette D10 going for $1.7 million in GTA Online, even though the real thing would probably cost you closer to $100,000. But the moment you start thinking this through, it falls apart pretty quickly. First off, there's the shark cards, Rockstar's golden goose. Microtransactions have been baked into GTA's online experience since the early days, and balancing the economy around real-world prices would throw that entire system off. The inflated in-game prices weren't just random, they were designed to push you toward either grinding or spending. That's how the model works. And second, there's the problem of progression. When GTA Online launched, money actually meant something. You had to hustle, heists were difficult, payouts were tight, and slowly building your empire felt rewarding. But as the game leaned harder into over-the-top content, flying bikes, orbital cannons, futuristic bunkers, Rockstar needed a way to keep up with its own chaos. That's when inflation hit. Prices went up, so the money-making methods had to multiply. Daily bonuses, special events, passive businesses, all to keep you in the loop. So yeah, Rockstar has definitely learned a thing or two about how money works in a live service game. But will GTA 6 suddenly flip the script and go realistic with it? Not likely. A real-world economy sounds neat in theory, but it would clash with everything Rockstar's monetization model relies on. If anything, expect GTA 6's pricing system to feel more grounded at launch, but once online kicks in, it's probably back to the same cycle we've seen before. Let's talk about one of the most asked questions surrounding GTA 6, whether the game will include more mature relationship scenes. Ever since the trailers dropped, showcasing incredibly detailed body physics and character interactions, players have been speculating whether Rockstar is finally pushing boundaries in that area, especially with the introduction of Jason and Lucia. The first time a GTA protagonist has a partner integrated into the main storyline. It's a fair question. After all, GTA 4 and GTA 5 didn't shy away from nudity. There were brief moments, flashes of explicit content, and even fully rendered reproductive organs in certain cutscenes. And of course, who could forget the infamous hot coffee scandal that once shook the entire franchise? So are we about to see a Hot Coffee Part 2? Well, not exactly. Despite the speculation, the chances of Rockstar going that far are slim, and here's why. For over 2 decades, Rockstar has kept the GTA series firmly within the ESRB's mature rating. Crossing into more explicit territory, like interactive sex scenes or full nudity, risks tipping the game into the adults-only category, and that's something mainstream platforms like PlayStation and Xbox generally refuse to support. In other words, while Rockstar may include suggestive scenes or implied intimacy between characters, it's highly unlikely we'll be getting anything close to full adult content. At best, we might see a stylized intro sequence. But a fully interactive experience is impossible because we know it's getting released on PlayStation. Rockstar knows where the line is, and for now, they're not planning to cross it. At some point, every GTA fan has wondered the same thing. Are we ever going to see real cars in the series, like actual licensed brands? Imagine cruising through Vice City in a real-life Porsche or BMW, ripping down neon-lit highways while the sunset reflects off the hood. Sounds amazing, right? But let's be honest, if that's the kind of experience you're looking for, you're probably better off playing Forza Horizon or even Cyberpunk 2077, which did manage to get a licensed Porsche into their game. But when it comes to Rockstar, things have always worked differently. GTA has a very specific vision, a fictional world built around satire, parody, and its own in-universe logic. Brands like Ubermacht, Pegassi, and Vapid aren't just random replacements. Introducing real-world manufacturers could completely break the immersion and clash with the over-the-top humor and storytelling the series is known for. But there's an even bigger reason why licensed cars never made it into GTA, and it dates all the way back to the beginning of the series. The series has always been about crime, robberies, police chases, gang wars, you name it. It's the core theme that defines the gameplay. No luxury car brand wants their vehicles associated with a guy hijacking a tanker truck or mowing down NPCs in a high-speed chase. That's why we get Infernus instead of Lamborghini. That's why Ubermacht stands in for BMW, and that's probably how it's going to stay. So while GTA 6 might blow us away with new vehicles and physics, don't expect to see real-life brands in your garage, unless modders make it happen, which let's be honest, they already did. While GTA 6 isn't going to have real-life car brands, will it at least have a realistic vehicle system? Things like refueling your car, doing your own repairs, or even parts breaking down over time? Well, it's complicated. There were rumors that GTA 6 might feature a fuel system, but so far, Rockstar hasn't confirmed anything. And when it comes to repairs, there's been talk that car mechanics might not instantly fix your vehicle like in GTA 5. Instead, you might actually have to leave your car at a shop and come back hours later once it's fully repaired or upgraded. Some players even think GTA 6 might introduce vehicle wear and tear, like parts breaking over time, forcing you to maintain your car, but let's be honest, that sounds like a stretch. There are even players hoping for vehicle wear and tear, where your car could break down after too much abuse, but at that point, you're not playing GTA anymore, you're playing BeamNG. And as fun as it sounds, let's be honest, GTA missions aren't built for ultra-realistic damage models. One bad crash, and half the missions would be impossible to complete. Rockstar designs GTA for the masses, and constantly refueling your car or dealing with breakdowns could get annoying fast. That's not really what most players want in an open-world chaos simulator. And while many might suggest a difficulty slider to enable or disable these mechanics, that's pretty unlikely. The mainline GTA games have never had difficulty options, and Rockstar seems committed to keeping things simple. So will GTA 6 take a step forward in terms of car handling, visual damage, and maybe more immersive repair shops? Most likely. But if you're expecting a survival-style driving experience with gas stations, blown tires, or full-on maintenance schedules, you're probably in the wrong game. One of the most requested features in GTA history is simple. Can we finally enter every building in the game? No more fake doors, no more windows with blurred-out insides, and no more closed shops that look detailed but are just part of the map's decoration. And yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. In fact, it's already 100% confirmed that it won't. Both Trailer 1 and Trailer 2 show Rockstar using parallax interiors, a trick that makes buildings look like they have 3D interiors behind the glass, when in reality, it's just a flat texture designed to fake depth. It's a cool illusion, but it clearly tells us Rockstar isn't aiming to make every shop, store, or building explorable. Could they technically do it? Sure, if they wanted to make the most bloated game of all time, but the problems are obvious. First, there's optimization. You can't load thousands of detailed interiors and expect performance to hold up, especially when you're flying through the city at 100 miles per hour. It'd tank your FPS even on high-end machines, let alone consoles. And second, storage. GTA 6 is already going to be huge, but if you added full interiors to every building, the install size would shoot up into the terabytes. Not exactly ideal when most people are already running out of SSD space. So yeah, we'll definitely get more enterable interiors than GTA 5, and maybe even some dynamic ones like in Red Dead 2, but you can forget about walking into every single store you see on the sidewalk. Even if it looks real, chances are it's just a parallax window with no inside. It's a feature that sounds amazing in theory, but when you break it down, it'd probably cause more problems than it's worth. And let's talk about dynamic weather. Based on what we've seen so far, it looks like Rockstar might finally be taking that next step, but maybe not as far as people are hoping. In one of the official screenshots, there's a flood gauge right next to a kayak ramp. Now, you don't throw in a detail like that unless you're teasing something more than just scenery. It could suggest that water levels will rise and fall based on storms or weather cycles, which would be a cool feature, especially for missions involving the swamps, rivers, or low-lying areas. But full-on destructive flooding is highly unlikely. That would require massive changes to the map layout in real time, and from a technical standpoint, it's just not realistic. Maybe you'll see some puddles in areas that were dry before, or roads temporarily blocked off, but not full neighborhoods going underwater. And then there's the trailer, where we spot a hurricane sign inside a bar that lists past storm names. That could hint at hurricanes happening in-game, but again, it'll probably be tied to a scripted mission or story event, a one-time thing that sets the tone or triggers a plot point, not a recurring gameplay feature. The most believable of them all is wildfires. In one of the official artworks, there's a fire warning sign, and in one of the Ambrosia screenshots, we literally see a field on fire with smoke flooding the area. It might not be a dynamic system like in Far Cry, but having scripted or semi-random fire events in rural areas seems totally within reach, especially if Rockstar is trying to reflect the natural hazards of places like Florida and Georgia. So yeah, while the idea of weather affecting gameplay sounds amazing in theory, don't expect SimCity-level disaster systems. Water levels might shift, hurricanes might hit during missions, and wildfires could play a role in a few side activities. But this is still GTA, not a climate simulation. The amount of detail Rockstar put into power lines in GTA 6 is pretty insane. You can spot them everywhere in the trailers and screenshots. Proper cables, poles, realistic layouts, way more than just background filler. So it's easy to start wondering if they'll actually do something in the game. Could we get power outages? What if knocking down a power line cuts electricity to a neighborhood, or breaking a traffic light causes chaos at an intersection? I've seen people speculating about that, even saying utility workers could show up to fix stuff. And yeah, it sounds fun on paper, but I don't think that's actually gonna happen. Most likely, the poles are static objects, just like in GTA 5. Maybe we'll get a little spark animation or some particle effects when you shoot at them, but that's probably it. I doubt we'll be able to knock them over or trigger full blackouts across the map. That'd be way too complicated and honestly not really necessary. Same goes for cables. In GTA 5, they weren't solid, they were just visuals, and you could fly straight through them. If Rockstar improved that and made the cables react like bushes do, swaying a bit when you pass near them, that would be a cool little touch. But I'm not expecting them to behave like real wires with proper physics. So yeah, the power lines look great, and I'm sure Rockstar added them to help sell the vibe of the world, but don't expect gameplay to revolve around them. If anything, they'll just add some extra atmosphere, not features. Next up on the list is seasonal changes. We're talking snow in winter, heat waves in summer, trees changing color in fall, the kind of stuff that makes the world feel like it's really alive and passing through time. And yeah, with Rockstar showing off such a massive leap in environmental detail, it's easy to start hoping for dynamic seasons too. But here's the thing, GTA 6 takes place in Leonida, a fictional version of Florida. And if you know anything about Florida, you know it doesn't really do seasons. It's basically summer all year. You're not gonna see snowbanks piling up or autumn leaves crunching underfoot. The climate just doesn't work that way. Not in real life, and probably not in GTA either. There's literally been only one recorded instance of actual snowfall sticking to the ground in Florida, and that was back in the 70s. So yeah, if we're being realistic, full-on winter weather isn't gonna happen. But what could happen is seasonal variation that fits the region. Things like heavier rainstorms during hurricane season, more humidity in the summer months, maybe even visual cues like puddles lasting longer, streets getting hazy with heat waves, or grass turning dull during dry periods. That would actually fit Florida's vibe perfectly and give the world more depth without breaking immersion. Another small thing Rockstar might do is change decorations and events based on time of year. Just like in GTA Online, where Christmas brought snow and new props, we might see things like Halloween banners, fireworks for Independence Day, or subtle environmental shifts depending on the calendar. So no, don't expect blizzards or frozen lakes in Vice City. That's just not how Leonida works. But if Rockstar wants to go all in on atmosphere and detail, there's still a lot they can do with Florida's real-world climate to keep things feeling fresh throughout the year.